Hello everyone, welcome to sosin Academy. In today's discussion, we'll be discussing the urban infrastructure and urban development as a part of economic survey sessions that we are taking from the last few days. This discussion entirely is about urban development, which is a chapter in 25 to 26 economic survey. So let us start our discussion. In the last class, as we have discussed the rural development, the problems in the rural development, and various initiatives and suggestions as discussed in the economic survey, here also we'll be discussing the problems that the urban cities are facing, the models that we are following, the constraints in those models which we are following in India, the importance of metrics, importance of implementation of schemes, the fiscal transfers for the municipalities, and also the effective governance structures, the models which were there in other parts of the world, how we can replicate them. All these are the points of discussion in today's session. So let us begin the session with understanding the problems of urbanization in India. The problems, if we need to discuss, it is very uneven. There is land crisis within the country, housing crisis. It is not economical, which lead to lot of slums and also widening of growth, widening of growth areas or the urban sprawl, the mobility crisis, the finance crisis, multiple authorities, This is regulations which are uneven or uneven regulations. Uneven urbanization across the country. Total urbanization problems revolve around those themes. So let us start discussing. Yes, every urban area within India follows a division based on whether it is a municipality or a municipal corporation or it is a town. How we divide the areas based on population size, right? Based on population size and also industrialization. Okay? Industrialization, infrastructure, population size. On this basis, we will decide the political authorities also, whether it will be a municipality or municipal corporation or a village or how it needs to be governed. So we are planning the administration of the city based on the population size. But we are not planning the administration of the city and provision of infrastructure based on how people reside, where people reside, how much population is there in the particular area. We are generally seeing over few kilometers or thousands of kilometers how population is there, whether there is any infrastructure or not, whether there is any transportation. Based on that, we are deciding the authorities who need to oversee that area. But we are not focusing on how much population, we are just focusing on how much population is there across thousands of kilometers. We are not seeing how dense the population is there in a particular area, what infrastructure it is having, why people are residing in the particular area very densely. So we need to change how our planning is, how our urban planning is. We need to divide every area using technology, geographical information system. We need to divide the area into 1 square kilometer grid and decide based on that how much density is there. Based on that, we need to decide who needs to govern that area, municipal corporation or municipality. And it is not about administration, because every municipality or municipal corporation, apart from having mayors, political executives, there are many bodies. For example, transportation authorities will be there, the waste collection authorities will be there, the municipal authorities will be there. Everyone, their duties have been decided, what they must do. Political authorities will just oversee, but there are some authorities like transportation authority, electricity authorities. So the power in the city is divided across different functions. It is not just overseen by a single entity. So if a person needs to set up a industrial space or he want to construct a building, he'll go to multiple authorities, take lot of permissions, and moreover every state have different regulations and different time periods in order to give approval, in order to clear the files. So it will take longer period of time and there is weak management. So economic survey says there is already unevenness across all urban areas in India, and there is division of responsibility. No single authority have entire execution accountability so that people could ask something, and there is very uneven development. People are coming, migrating. Based on that, we are deciding whether we need to have a metro, whether we need to have a bus transportation system, right? Or our development in the urban area is in such a way that we want to only focus on creation of infrastructure. Urban areas means first the authorities will think we need to provide infrastructure. How much ever infrastructure is provided, how many ever roads are constructed, that does not mean we are using them properly. Unnecessary road creation, and that road creation is not just for mobility. Urban areas, if we are constructing a road in it, we are focusing on mobility of cars. We are not focusing on footpaths. We are not focusing on pedestrians or all people. For 80-year-old, there is no road. For 80-year-old, 8 plus 80, for both, roads are very much a problem, safety problem, and also commuting problem is always there. And cities are seen as a crisis to manage, not just as just an opportunity to create growth in the country. The urbanization problem has always been there, but we started doing changes like safety nets are created from past few years, like CCTV, creation, widening of roads, some of the things, Swachh Bharat, creation of infrastructure, again, creation of toilets everywhere, public spaces, creation of public spaces is increasing, roads are increasing, infrastructure we are creating, traffic lights we are putting. So how much ever we do it, if we don't make it accountable for people to follow rules, what is the purpose of doing this much? And at the end of the day, you are not even collecting the taxes. As roads are increasing, people will think as soon as they enter the urban area, they need to buy a car. What happens because of buying a car, like so many people buying a car in the city, whether it is a small car or a high-end car, it will be only for cars. It will not be for people. We are just focusing on urban area means it is just high-end cars or infrastructure, big lanes, big metros, flyovers. Again, on the top of that, on doing that, we are constructing multiple flyover, which are wastage of resources, and moreover, the demand for the cars are increasing because there is flyover, right? And moreover, we are increasing these metro stations or transport facilities like buses or creation of roads, not just because people are living in a particular area. We are not focusing on bringing the transportation where people are densely populated. First, what we are doing, we are planning entire metro stations, etc., the flyovers, etc., where people are not living. Because of this development, people are thinking, yes, because there is flyover and my office is far and my house is somewhere else, let me buy a car in order to commute. So long distance commuting is happening. We are not focusing on building infrastructure like bus stations, metro stations in the area where so many people live. Now also, if we see a flyover, there people will not be living that much densely. Somewhere at the end of the metro station, somewhere at the end of the bus station, people will be living. It will be outside, generally, if we see. So economic survey is saying that don't create this subsectors, or create something like where everything will be available in an area. Now what is happening, if we see, suppose if this is a city, here there will be one sector, here there will be some small industries, here some small shops will be there, and suppose within this area there will be shops related to food items, there will be shops related to glass items in this area. So people need to commute for one thing, people need to commute from here to here, right? And we are building a flyway here, and education centers will be in one area. Understood? Job opportunities will be in one area. Residential areas will be in between. This is what our development is. It is in silos. So what our development must be? It should not be like this. First of all, we should not plan a flyway because people are there. It will create a feel of an urban area. What we need to do? First, let me see where people are densely populated. Plan infrastructure here, schools here, industries here, small shops, everything, all the services plan around this area, and plan a commuting network here itself, so that the urbanization sprawl will not happen laterally. If we see in India, people are coming from rural areas to urban areas for job opportunities. But because of various restrictions that we do not do high-rise building beyond a particular limit, what is happening? These people don't have space to live, or there is so much of housing problem, there is so much of rental problem, it is not economical. People started commuting for jobs, and people started living somewhere around the city, which are called as peri-urban areas, because of economical housing that is available around the city. So because of this, the city administration is expanding, flyways are expanding, which is giving more scope for people to buy. Indirectly you are telling buy more cars. Inflation is increasing at the end of the day, and we couldn't manage traffic properly, which is leading to lot much of congestion. Congestion means traffic problem, pollution it is creating, and we building the infrastructure for this huge urban sprawl. It means lot of our city is expanding. People are not coming inside the city. City itself is expanding. There is no funds for maintaining that because people don't pay taxes properly. There is very less effective property tax. Municipal bonds, they can't provide for the people and get the money. And states put restrictions on how to give the fund to the municipal authorities. There is no proper sewage management, which we have already studied in other classes like society, etc. Geography also we will study urbanization. So there are problems around. These are the basic problems, and moreover, the limits for floor space index. Economic survey talks that floor space index. In every city, suppose a floor space index is 1.3, let us say 2. 2 floor space index means either you build a 2000 square kilometer of area, a house, or divide that 2000 square kilometer into 2 flats, like 1000 for one floor, another 1000 square kilometer for another floor. It means your total building, including the first floor, second floor, need to be just 2000 square kilometers. It should not go beyond that. If my floor space index is 5, let us say 5, it means I can build 5 floors into 1000 square kilometers. So there are various restrictions on building the housing vertically. We are not focusing on vertical development of high-rise buildings. We are not, it is not because of disaster management like that. We don't have proper planning. There is lot of restriction to do high-rise building except in few cities. So what is happening? The housing crisis is increasing. There is no limit on how to get approvals for the for the people how to how to do the infrastructure. There's lot of corruption, there are lot of speculative prices in the real estate market, there is no regulation for it, there are no uniform standards. So basically it is becoming something like where we cannot manage over a period of time. There are some best examples also, and moreover the survey highlights that apart from all this, there is no civic responsibility. There is Swachh Bharat mission, we are segregating the waste into wet waste and dry waste. But there is still problem of throwing litter on the roads. When it is not about, economic survey says, we are lacking proper urbanization, not because of we are not adopting technology or we don't have funds. We don't have proper governance and we don't have civic responsibility, people's responsibility. We don't know how to maintain our metro stations, how to behave. Civic responsibility is very poor. There is still lot of littering that again exist within India, especially in the peri-urban areas, municipal corporations in tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities, maybe not entire one, but still civic responsibility is very poor and weak. Till that behavior, economic survey talks about behavioral change of people, mindset change of people, especially the city people, then only whatever infrastructure we create or technology, we already there is enough infrastructure we have adopted, like CCTVs we have adopted. We have good monitoring about how water supply is going on. Technology is integrated with how to check water supply to different parts of the city. So though we are doing this, there are still so many problems because of widen this. Rather than vertical growth, we are focusing on horizontal or lateral growth, which is leading to a lot of urban sprawl. Then there is mobility crisis. Mobility crisis means we are not focusing on buses. Moreover, suppose if people are, and moreover, as the government increase its investment in the infrastructure, like building high roads or widened roads, people will think, okay, let me buy a car. When they buy a car at a massive level, are we charging them for parking spaces effectively? No, people use roads only to park. So people see roads as parking lots. People see roads as a storage infrastructure rather than mobility. Rather than normal people don't think about mobilizing on the roads. It is only for the vehicles. This is what the mindset we have. That too private vehicles. This is what the mindset we have. And moreover, how to discourage that private vehicles, especially cars, is, are you charging congestion charges? Suppose people will be mobilizing in one area or parking in one area. Parking fines are allotted, but whenever the officials feel that they need to they need to charge people, or on particular roads it is there. But in heavy traffic areas, when people have cars, in the heavy congestion areas, when the traffic will be huge, where there will be lot of time for people to commute, in that areas also there should be congestion charges, because many people are using it and they are creating lot of pollution, lot of energy demand is going on, like fuel supply should again be there in those areas. So reduce the demand. You are increasing the demand by just simply widening the roads. And whenever we think that there is some division of district, or one village turning it into a town because of population increase, or whenever there is a division of states or a state dividing different districts and towns, the idea and mindset is create roads. This is the mindset. Creation of roads is not just creating solution, it is creating new problem. That is inducing more demand for people to buy lot of own transport for them. We are not encouraging the public transport. That is what economic survey says. Encourage public transport by charging them. charging people who are with cars. Not nowadays, for whom we are charging that, when the cars are going through national highways which are built with public private partnership, then we are collecting the tolls. Even on the normal roads, create congestion charges. Then we can discourage people using their own vehicles and go for public transport, which will solve lot of issues. Okay, so these are the problems. So there is car centric development, and there is lack of waste management. We are segregating the waste, but we have sewage. How many houses and buildings are connected to sewage infrastructure or drainage systems? That is very less. And whenever there is some rain, there will be floods, there will be flash floods or urban floods, because we don't or whenever there is heavy monsoon, the water will be like a flood because of lack of proper drainage system. Okay, so tech adoption in few areas. These are some of the things that we will discuss in the economic survey. Okay, informality. One more thing, informality means we think that urban areas are only for the middle class who are working in the services sector. We don't include slums. We think that these people are destroying the image of the city, and moreover the vendors, the street vendors, are not included as infrastructure. And first of all, we are not including urban infrastructure or urban roads into the infrastructure category. That's one more thing. So we need to focus on how to inculcate the street vendors, how to provide them good spaces so that they will not be on the roads. What street vendors do, because of lack of dedicated spaces, they will be using the roads, which will reduce the space of the road, and it will create a lot of other problems for the traffic. Okay, so informal sector is not included into the plans of urbanization. So for informal sector to be there, there should be land allotment by the government or municipality. So cities were seen as a crisis. There is lack of data, how many people are coming, what is the area, what is the free area, that is not there. Data analytics problems using of technology like AI, blockchain, all these things are suggested by the economic survey here. So let us start the discussion of problems. There are governance deficits. You can write this directly into your notes, and you can use this for your answers in GS1 and GS3. Problems we are discussing. Governance deficit, main problem highlighted. So urban function split across urban local bodies, municipalities, and there are developmental authorities like Hyderabad Urban Development Authority, Water Development Authorities. So the functions are divided across multiple authorities. No accountability. Okay. State department and parastatal agencies. Someone who will collect the waste for the city is different. Limited fiscal accountability. How much cities will raise? Less than 0.6% of GDP. They don't have money. Cities raise less than 0.6% of GDP. In own revenues, in OECD countries, in the developed countries, Organization of Economically Developed Countries, 2 to 4% is the GDP. Political economic mismatch. Cities contribute 70% of GDP by 2036, but have 9% of population. See, the GDP is coming from the cities. By 2036, it will be 70%. Right now, it can be somewhere 50%. It can surely be right now. But how much population is there? 9% of population. It means there is inequality also. We are not saying this is a problem. Yes, cities should contribute GDP, but for this 9% of population, we are not providing infrastructure. If they are creating this much GDP, we are not collecting proper taxes in the cities, which will give them good infrastructure for those people in the cities. For urban people, we are not creating infrastructure, and moreover, lack of the other population in rural areas, they don't have employment opportunities equally, and again they will come to urban areas or around the urban area because of housing problems, which can lead to slums. So collection of taxes by these authorities are not happening. Property tax, etc. There is a lot of tax evasion. Tolls collection, only in few areas. In highways there is toll collection. Municipal authorities are not able to collect water tax, etc. Very less taxes, and lot many cities don't use municipal bonds to collect money. Okay, so we see revenues, very less revenues like entertainment tax, toll tax, etc. How to create more revenues? Like congestion cess, we can tax the cars in the city also. That is what the survey says. Weak metropolitan coordination. These are the governance deficits overall we have right now. Only governance deficit. Land as a dead capital. This is the second problem that the Indian cities have. Land as a dead capital. Low floor space index. Mumbai 1.3, Pune 1.3, Delhi 3.5, Singapore 25, Tokyo 20. What is this 1.3? 1000 kilometers, 1000 square kilometers. If a plot is there should be one floor. Or if you want 5 floors in the 1000 square kilometers, divide 1000 into 5. Each one will have 200 square kilometers. Each floor will be 200 square kilometers. Now in a way, if it is 1.3, it means 1000 plus 300 square kilometer. That is 1300 square kilometer. Divide that 1300 into 3 floors or 5 floors. I am not increasing that 1300 to somewhere like 10,000 square kilometers. If it is 10,000 square kilometers, or if my FSI is 10, let us say if FSI is 10, each floor can be 1000 kilometers, 1000 square kilometers, and there can be how many floors for 10,000? 10 floors into 1000, or 20 floors into 500 square kilometer flat can be there. Understood? So because of this very low restrictions, that 1.3 is very low, or 10 also it is very low, but in other countries there is 25. 25 means 25,000 square kilometers can be divided into multiple floors. You can either increase the area here or decrease the area and increase your height here. So FSI should be according to what the land is, what our earthquake zonation is. There are earthquake mapping zones. Based on that also, there is still a chance for FSI to be increased in India, along with following other disaster management specifications. But we need to increase that limits, so that, because lot many people are coming out of rural area, we can't provide housing economically within the city. Okay, there should be again scope for houses, there should be scope for shops, there should be scope for parking lots, etc. So increase the FSI. There is low FSI if we see in the cities. Because of that, because of low FSI, entire city is occupied with houses or other buildings, and there is urban spillover even from this corner areas, or lot many rural people are living in the peripheral areas. Living in peripheral areas increased, and moreover it has come to a point that city center, which used to be there before, like it used to be static, that is not growing, or GDP here is not growing. Many people are living here, they are setting up their houses here, setting up infrastructure here. Infrastructure means what kind? Not public infrastructure. They are setting up their shops here because many people live here. They create demand here rather than going inside the city and buying things. The other infrastructure which they need, like on daily basis, is also coming here. Again, it is creating stress on the resources of government and the city authorities to create roads here as well, to supply water here as well, to supply electricity here as well. And they are demanding not just like a rural area, they are demanding cement roads. And again, these people will buy cars. There is again a need for widening of roads here. Understood? So we are not able to use existing resources, and there is a point for these people to go again to this area also for some or the other purpose. There is long commutation that is happening. Traffic problems will be happening because of this. This is what is uneven development the economic survey highlights. So I will increase FSI. I will not focus on car centric development. My idea of government from now is not just creating infrastructure. Infrastructure means road infrastructure. Yes, we concentrated on highways, which every country require. Now city roads, creating more city roads, creating more flyovers is not the thing. Focus on metros. Focus on connecting the city entirely with metros rather than creating flyovers for car. If there is flyover for car, people will think, let me buy more cars. Because there is flyover, I can go fast and come fast. But indirectly what it will create? Traffic problems. Understood? So unclear titles. Again, there are land problems, opaque ownership. These are housing shortage. So 30 million units housing shortage will be there by 2030. It will skyrocket the cost. Normal people cannot build the houses in the cities. They need to live for the rent. Affordable housing crisis for the low income groups. 99% shortage for low income groups, which lead to slums. Again, even then we also think that these slums will be a problem for us because we wanted to have a good high-rise apartments in the cities. Okay, supply dropped from 52.4. Before, the housing used to be affordable. Now it has dropped to very less, that is from 50 to half like the supply of houses means the costs have risen. Before, the supply of houses used to be there for 52.4. Now it is only limited for 17. It means 17% only can afford the houses in 2025 in the top 8 cities. So use these ideas. Don't remember everything whatever I say. Use ideas like low FSI is there, that is the problem. Car-centric development is the problem in your answers. Don't explain what is car-centric, not required. Everyone knows. Okay? Use the terms which are mentioned in the survey. That's all for your answers. Mobility crisis is the problem. So governance deficit, mobility crisis, land as a dead capital is the problem. So much time is lost to traffic. In a year, how many hours people spend? More than 3 days, more than 5 days they spend in the traffic in a year. Like on an average, 117 hours per year. Economic cost, time waste, economy waste, right? And petrol also will be, the engines will always be on the run. Fuel waste. Bus shortage is also huge. Should I stop? Private vehicle dependency. Low capacity modes dominate despite corridor capacity advantage of public transport. So many people depend on private vehicles. So despite, listen students, despite roads etc., we are not investing in public infrastructure. We are not investing in rails, creating rail infrastructure. Even some of the though some top tier 1 cities have metro stations, every area, nook and corner is not connected with metro. Okay, and we are not investing in buses. We are investing on just creation of roads. What is the use of it? And people use that roads for just street vendors or roaming or parking the cars. Waste and sanitation gaps. 80% of waste processed nationally, but segregation quality is poor. Waste water will be generated, but it is not recycled. So it is focusing on circular economy here so that we can use resources properly. So there should be segregation of waste, cleaning, segregation of waste, cleaning, processing this waste. Processing requires collection of plastic waste or collection or creating infrastructure like salinization plants, desalinization plants, filtration plants, water filtration plants, cleaning the ponds, tanks, etc. So wastewater recycling can be done. It can be used again for industrial purposes, whatever the wastewater is. So wastewater demand can be met. Okay, then there is only 72% of households connected to underground sewerage, not all houses. So that is also one of the problem. Okay, and rainwater harvesting is very important in the urban area. How each building can save the water, how retrofitting the buildings with rainwater harvesting, underground water saving within the building. These ideas were discussed even before also, but we are not focusing on it. And even creating the green spaces on the top of the building, like terraces on the building, can also save the water, reduces the sunlight. Okay, reduces the sunlight, and it can create a positive impact in the city with respect to pollution. Pollution can be addressed when we create a green space across the city, not just on the terraces. Okay, then there is a problem of urban heat island effect. There is, what is urban heat island? This is an environmental concept. In the urban area, the temperature will be 2 to 3 degrees higher. Not 2 to 3 degrees, it is more than 5 degrees, at least 5 degrees higher than that of peripheral rural area. Rural area comparatively it will be cool because of there is lot of greenery here. Here there is only cement infrastructure, buildings which consists of glasses. What they do, they take the sunlight. There will be no reflection of sunlight back into the atmosphere. Okay, and when these buildings and cement infrastructure, roads absorb lot of heat, they store lot of heat, what will happen? Again there will be demand for cooling infrastructure. Without ACs people cannot live. Again ACs create what? Emissions, ozone emissions. What it is creating? Circular damage it is creating. What we are trying to answer that, how we are trying to answer that? We need to create circular economy. How to create circular economy for that damage that we are doing is process the waste, segregate the waste, do composting, focus on biofuels, process the waste and extract biomethane, biogas, which can be used along with the things like petrol and diesel. Where this biogas, biomethane, everything is coming from by the plants which process the waste. That is what using of waste to energy. Create waste to energy so that even the waste can be useful and employment can be generated in the city. Okay. Weak social responsibility. Yesterday we have discussed Olistron model where everyone in the city need to be held responsible and accountable. So rules applied unevenly. Every city have their own rules. There is no uniform rule. So there is no trust in the municipal bodies that they'll be doing the work properly. There will be throwing of blame on each other because multiple authorities are there, not one authority. Behavioral paradox. Some citizens orderly in metro, chaotic on streets. See, people behave differently at different places. So there is no accountability. Okay. So what are these are the stats. You can write the stats for your answer writing. And now, even now we say only 31% of people are in the urban area. But that is based on 2011 census. There is no new census. And from past decade, more than a decade, it is 15 years. From 15 years, we are still saying only 31%. And we are planning because based on that 31%. But in reality, based on the satellite data, nighttime lights, if we see 65% of India's populations are living in urban area. They might not be in politically called as urban area, or they might not be use the word town or a city, but they are functioning as a urban area. So functionally, people are 63% urban. This is called as degree of urbanization methodology, which is DGURBA methodology. No, don't need to use, but just write in your book. That is degree of urbanization. We need to see degree of urbanization. If we see the degree of urbanization using how much traffic is floating, how people, what kind of jobs they are doing, whichever job they might do. See, even in the city, there are many people who are doing the low end jobs. That does not mean they are not living in the city and they are living in the rural area. That is not just the one criteria, and based on that criteria only we have divided the cities and towns before, and that stats are still continuing. But in reality, if we see, it is 63% urban functionally. So nearly double the census. UN also projected that 600 million urban people will be there by 2035. That is 40% of India's population according to UN projection. Okay. Economic concentration. Top 10 cities have 9% population, 28% GDP ratio. GDP is generated by top 10 cities, and these top 10 cities have 9% within whole urban population. Before also we have told within India there is 9% population across all the cities. Productivity gains, agglomeration premium. As we double the size of the city, there will be 12% productivity boost in India. We are not doubling the size. We are just creating peri-urban areas and providing infrastructure in the areas. We are not including them as the part of the city, but they are growing peripherally because of various crises like housing problem. Global comparison, faster growing Indian cities. So, 9.17%. Agra is growing at this percent. Bangalore 8.50%. Don't need to remember the stats. So what are the solutions and models? Metropolitan governance model. There should be single authority for planning, execution, finance. under under one single authority. So there is Noida and Gurgaon example. They are both seen as a satellite cities in Delhi. Okay. Gurgaon is actually managed by different municipal authorities. There are private authorities who wants to provide wastewater management, who will take care of entire wet waste collection in the city. But Noida, if we take into consideration, it is just managed by a government authority, Noida Municipal Authority. Every work is handled by that Noida authority. And Noida contribute a very less percentage of GDP, people and their economic wise. But Gurgaon consists of lot of economic activity, it generates lot of GDP. But when both cities receive the same amount of rain, in the economic survey it is mentioned that both cities have received same amount of rain in a particular day or in a particular time period. Okay, because both are very adjacent to Delhi. Understanding? But it is one side and it is on the other side. Gurgaon has lot of money, but it has lot of authorities. Roads are bad. There is no proper drainage systems to collect that rainwater. Okay, which leads to lot of congestion, and roads were blocked because of the rain, because of the flash floods, and it creates lot of civic problems in Gurgaon. In Gurgaon, one day of rain has stalled entire economic activity. In Noida, whereas there is one single authority and only one single authority is responsible for entire administration. Economy is also not that compared to that of Gurgaon, but it is still has best infrastructure. Rain does not hamper the daily business of people in the Noida city. So the example it is highlighting it is coordinated effort in Noida. In Gurgaon, post rain, everything is in the disaster because of fragmented response from the authorities. So it means that only money or only economic activity is not the problem. Governance is the problem. Governance can be the problem also. So what the economic survey is suggesting is, this is a suggestion. It is suggesting 20-year spatial and economic plan for every city. Every city should have short-term plans, moderate plans and long-term plans. We will see. The short-term, the moderate plan must be 20 years, how they will use the city, how it will grow, right now what is the population, what economic activities they are divided into, which area has which kind of economic activities. First part we have discussed. It is not that in a particular area all services are available. For education will come to one area, for jobs will go to another area. For different kind of services, different areas it is divided. That is what creating lot of demand. Now what the survey says that we need to have transit oriented development, TOD. You can use in your answers. Transit oriented development. It means that the infrastructure which is buses, roads or the transport comes highways. This should be in the areas. This should be in the areas where there is huge density of population. In huge dense population, there should be transport, there should be road infrastructure, there should be buses, there should be metros. Right now, metros are not in the densely populated areas. They are in the areas where different industrial services are available. And moreover, in the huge densely populated areas, we need to encourage people to open up shops, open up industries, open up malls. Everything need to be coming to people, and within a particular area, all services must be available. That is what is, and even the transport should be put in this area rather than putting transport elsewhere, people living in some other areas. So this is called as transit oriented development. So this is alternative to car-centric development. So there should not be car-centric development, there should be transit-oriented development. Okay. So transport network plan should be there. Housing supply target should be there. How much new housing need to be created for ever evolving population. Every year population will evolve. How many people are migrating, that data need to be integrated, and there should be plan for 20 years. Every city must do it. Land value capture framework, how land value should be there, how to control land values, how to stop speculation, how to plan the development must be taken into consideration. It is important for million plus, means more than 10 lakh populations. Every city which has, or every town which has, and even towns sometimes have more than 10 lakh population. For all these, this plan should be there. Fiscal devolution, shift to area based or capital value tax. How much value a property will generate in 10 years. Based on that, tax need to be decided. It should not be like every area will have same tax, or again it should not be like every area is collecting the taxes which are undervalued or less amount of tax. There should be proper tax. We are not exorbitantly charging. Again, that does not mean collection or appropriation of more taxes. There should be rationality. Okay. So geographical information based evaluation should be there. How land use management is being done, how much free space is available, where people are, see, very much understandable when I say the word like land data planning must be there. How land use is there, based on that we need to charge money. How it is getting occupied over number of years, based on that I'll charge money, so that people will get discouraged also to come to a particular area. Discourage, see, it's not just about encouraging people to come by creating roads. That is the sole point. It is to discourage people to use roads and encourage people to use public transport by levying fees on them, which is congestion fee. Fine. Target, it is 1 to 1 point. Right now, very much less these municipal bodies collect from the people all throughout India. That is only 0.15% of GDP is collected as tax by the municipal authorities. It should be increased to 1 to 1.5. Then only they can survive, and again they can create infrastructure for people. Performance linked grants should be given to the municipal areas, and competition must be encouraged across the municipalities, corporations, so that they will do the work. Own source revenue growth must every municipality should see what kind of revenues they need to collect. Approval timeline reduction. When a municipal body is giving permission for industry or for a house, the timeline should be reduced so that it will be easy for people. And as the timeline is increasing and there is no technology, people will ask more money. If you need to get this approval of water, give me extra 500, give me extra 1,000. This always will happen within the country, and all this money will go for people, but it will not come under direct taxation. So there should be only one approval. If a person is applying for a house approval or for a land approval, he needs to fulfill all the conditions. He needs to not go for water approval to some other, for gas network for some other body. Okay, for water connection, electricity connection, everything need to be there in the single application, and that single application need to be ticked off within 30 days. If within 30 days, if authority is not giving permission, if it is not rejecting, it should be considered as automatic approval according to economic survey. If you are rejecting, then fine. If you are not rejecting and not approving, it means that you automatically approved. And people must not go for different places for different services approval. okay, for water connection, for electricity connection, like that. It should come under a single plan or single application, then we can avoid corruption also, and people can do it by fulfilling certain through web application people can file that, don't need to go anywhere. So use technology which can reduce time, which can reduce corruption. Municipal bonds we have discussed in other classes also. Urban project units, dedicated delivery teams with standardized contracts, unified metropolitan transport authorities for integrated mobility planning. Metros must be encouraged. Single window approvals must be done. So there should be rule based FSI. So suppose if you want a approval for setting up your building in a particular land, you have your land, you will put all your land documents in the portal, and you will say you are the owner, or you took the land, or you bought the land, and you will say what is your based on your area there will be FSI, and based on that you will say what your plan will be there, how many floors will be there, and automatically there will be, in the application itself there will be lot many approvals. Just fulfill that conditions, your application will be sent. You don't need to go anywhere, and there is time period also for this application to get rejected or to get approved. Okay, so mixed use norms, don't say one area is for industries. Right now what we are doing, every city in the city, one area is for industries, one is for residential. This is how we are dividing. Encourage mixed use. So what will happen, within less area all activities will be encouraged, proper land will be used. Most of the land we are using for parking. When we encourage this mixed use, people don't need to commute from one area to another area for basic purposes. This is the idea. Okay. Transit oriented development we did discuss already. Within every 500 to 800 meters there should be availability of some metro. It is not that there should be metro at every 500 to 800. No, it should be nearest. We need to see within every 500 to 800 meters they have the availability of metro near to them. Based on that we need to encourage this metro and allocate the resources for it. So higher FSI, floor space index, or it is also called as floor area ratio, both are same. There should be mixed use zoning, value capture to fund first to last mile connectivity. Value capture to fund, it means how based on the value of a particular area, growth of the particular area, there should be collection of taxes. So best example is Chennai Metropolitan Development Authority. They have a master plan and they have higher FSI, and they upgrade it for every 5 years like that. It's the best one right now in the country with respect to transit oriented development. We are talking in the context of availability of metro and FSI, or floor area ratio. So this is the best example. Chennai Metro is the best. Sorry, not metro. Chennai development is the best one. So right now it is a discretion based. So TOD exemption. So right now if a person wants to get an approval, it will take 18 months. And people need to pay extra 20,000 for every square kilometer of FSI. There is extra cost also. Then there is, if approved again, they need to pay. So this is like an example slide, what is happening here. And this 40 lakh rupees extra people are paying, that is going into bribes. So rule based window should be there. Automatic approval, automatic FSI based on area. There should be instant calculation, how many floors can a person go for. Okay, then fixed premium can be there within the application. They can pay the money, and they can be approved 7 days. There is no corruption. There are no officials who will be lobbying. Okay, so more number of houses can be built with this, and 50% transaction cost. Supply will be huge, so there will be no artificial development or inflation of the cost within the area. People will not sprawl around the cities because of lack of housing. This is how the flow goes with the technology. Infrastructure gaps are there. Only 1000 square kilometers across 24 cities. Municipal bonds only some municipal authorities have issued. Smart cities, 90% of 8,000 projects completed, 1.64 lakhs crore invested. Based on nighttime lights, if we see, there is rapid growth in India. In older cities like Mumbai and Bangalore, and newer cities, density is getting added, and peripheral sprawl is increasing in Hyderabad and Pune. So peripheral to core ratio, 16 cities exceeded 1. Peripheral growth or outpacing growth, periphery to core ratios. It means compared to core area, periphery areas are developing. Okay, so public transportation expansion, bus fleet scale towards, these are the solutions. 40 to 60 buses per 1 lakh population. There is PM e-bus Seva, 10,000 e-buses via PPP, that is 20,000 crore have been allocated for that. Digital systems, end-to-end tracking for reliability should be created. Delhi Meerut Metro is a best example. Within 1 hour travel, 82 kilometers will be covered, integrated with Meerut Metro, which have saved a lot of money. And there is potential for mega regions to get connected with these metro corridors. So increase the metro, for 40 to 60 buses should be there for 1 lakh population. That is what the survey says. Demand management, how to discourage demand. It is not how to encourage the demand. Congestion pricing must be there. So in dense business districts, car levies need to be collected in order to stop using excessively. Then parking policy should be there to discourage Chennai metropolitan parking policy, demand based pricing. It means where there is huge parking, in that if it is very uneven, increase the price there. Okay, people will try to at least avoid certain things and go for public transport. Transit priority, dedicated bus lanes, signal prioritization can be done. First to last mile integration. Near metro, again people need to take auto, rickshaws, bike and taxis. So legalize shared mobility. Now shared mobility is very less. It is based on discretion and high demand. Discretion of whom? Auto rickshaws, etc. So legalize it. Shared metros will connect shorter distances. Shared buses or autos will reduce the cost and near areas can be connected. So this are some common things. Pick up and drop zones at metro and bus stations. ONDC platforms like direct transportation, transparent pricing, zero commission can be should be there. Okay. Then congestion pricing model. There are models in Singapore and London. You don't need to read, but it is based on how to discourage the demand of congestion. Pair with park and ride improved buses. Revenues to public transport, start modest, scale gradually. Start with small fees so people will get habituated. Now if you increase to 25 and 100, people will protest why you are collecting more fees. Okay, is it boring? Yes, it is boring. Circular water economy, that is one suggestion. Reuse targeting. Ministry of Housing and Urban Areas, Jal Hai Amrut, that is a scheme which is there. Long-term financing need to be encouraged in this. Circular water economy will create jobs also, and we need to invest 2.3 to 1.5 to 2.3 lakh crore by 2047 for 100% sewage treatment. Solid waste management, garbage free city framework should be there. There should be progress for cleanliness target units. Cleanliness target units are there. Give star rating for the cities. 7 star for 90% segregation, 3 star for 60% by 70% processing. These are solutions in the survey. Use at least some of them. Behavioral model. Indoor encourage people not to throw the litter. It is the cleanest city according to Niti Aayog indices also. Okay, it ranked number 1 since 2017. People still throw. How they bought the change? By behavioral campaigns, ad campaigns, by communities persuading. In every community there will be some, in every colony there will be people asking people not to litter. That is how indoor have moved towards cleanliness. Okay, do bin har din campaign, like campaigning, pressurizing people to follow, not to throw litter. School oath taking, SHG engagement, these are some of the initiatives people can do. Zero waste tag for markets. For markets, if there is zero waste tag, it means you are like encouraging them to further go for zero waste. Okay, strict penalties can be done. And ward enforcement teams should be formed to check whether they are throwing the litter. Every economic activity can be monitored like that. Sanitation scheme, Swachh Bharat Urban 2.0. 98% have ward to ward collection. There are vehicles also to collect the waste according to Swachh Bharat Urban. There is technology, integrated control and command centers for monitoring throughout city. About traffic monitoring, not just waste monitoring, traffic monitoring, everything like GPS, traffic, how it is managed throughout the city. Everything is integrated with technology. So there are integrated command control centers in order to control the traffic also. Amrut, Jal Hai Amrut, STP, sewage treatment plant efficiency incentives. So providing water, providing houses. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is there. Ministry of Jal Shakti, they have their own incentives to provide tap water connections for the cities. Swachh Bharat Urban talks about not just waste management, not just creation of infrastructure. It talks about zero waste economy. It talks about waste to energy plants, Swachh Bharat Urban 2.0. So there is one more mission, providing water, which is called as Amrut mission. So there are government incentives. Nature based solutions. What are nature based? Nature based solution means, don't say that I'll put smoke tower. There is smoke tower in Delhi, no, which is engineered solution. What it will do? It will capture all particulate matter 2.5, 10, and it will reduce the pollution rather than depending on those kind of things. Now we are talking about cloud seeding. We are talking about how to reduce pollution in Delhi, that is spraying water, that is engineered solution. You are using capital, you are using machines. But here what we will do in nature based solution is plant the trees. That is nature based, when you plant, which are zero cost. There is no cost in nature based solutions. Go for groundwater increase, groundwater recharge zones, which does not have any cost, and again there will be lot of returns, like there will be less pollution. When there is there are air pollution related deaths also in the cities. There are comorbidities which will increase the threat for old age people because of air pollution, and nearly 2 million people die because of air pollution. So let us reduce the health risks also by following nature based solutions. storm water integration. So whenever there is rainfall, how the rainfall, that rainwater need to go, they can go in the drains, but at the same time they can be absorbed by the soil. How the soil will absorb the water when there is no concrete, when there are no cement roads, when there is only soil? So provide empty spaces like that, plan a district in such a way there is a scope for development, plus at this there is scope for even the environment to coexist. Wetland means what? Where there is soil, where there are some grasses available, plus at the same time soil will be somewhat wet. How it will be wet? It can be because of water body around that area, right? It can be because of rain, the empty spaces which are with grass, and along with that there will be some water. These are called as wetlands. Wetlands are being encroached within the cities for development, and most of the times these wetlands are thrown with lot of waste. These wetlands, if they are revived, what will happen? All the water will go to the wetland. Okay, so prioritize planning, prioritize land zonation. Okay, low level areas, encourage wetlands in low level areas. High level areas, there can be urbanization, because water always flow from high area to low area. In low area, if wetland is there, grasses will absorb water. Understood? So there should be integration. It should not be like, because rainwater need to be absorbed, I'll build the drains. It should be environmental solution must be there, lakes must be there. So rainwater harvesting in summer season will happen. Lot of water can be stored rather than making all the water to go for waste or to go into the ocean. Urban heat island mitigation, already we have discussed that before. Okay, shade, tree cover, cool surfaces. Okay, then building code should be there, rainwater harvesting code. Every building need to have these techniques. Grey water usage, process that, use that grey water in industries which is processed. You can't use it for drinking anyhow, use it for some other purpose. Climate responsive design for every building. There should be ventilation, there should be reflective materials. Every house that we construct in the area, there should be regulation. They need to use white spaces or white paint so that the building will not absorb more heat, it will be cool. Then we don't need people demanding AC, which is again polluted, which will again give pollution. So energy efficiency, the best model we have seen energy efficiency is Cochin Airport. They are using solar plants. So it's the world's first fully solar powered airport, Cochin Airport. Then there is passive design, that is Bangalore solar passive hostel, and Paryavaran Bhavan in Delhi. They are also the best models which will save, which are saving lot of energy. Then there is heat action plan, early warning before in the summer season how the heat is increasing. Cooling centers are there for old age people. Then there is so much of change in the building designs, how new buildings are constructed. So these are the best models in India according to economic survey. Okay, this Cochin Airport is the best model, and every airport need to imbibe it. Financing mechanisms, urban infrastructure development fund should be there. It is there already in 25 to 26 economic survey. It is mentioned. There is 23 to 24 budget, 10,000 crore is allocated to this infrastructure development fund. There is housing bank, the National Housing Bank for tier 2 and tier 3 cities, that is giving funds for it. It is for funding the infrastructure in the urban areas. Then there is urban challenge fund, which is again there. Urban challenge fund means 1 lakh crore is indicated, is put in that budget. Every municipal authority will be given a challenge to follow certain models. If they do follow, the fund will be given by the central government for the municipal body, and there will be co-financing of that project, whatever the bodies take up, they'll be co-financing that. 50% will come from bonds or loans. There is shift from grants to bankable projects. So this fund will be operated like the government will give loan if you are performing well. Okay, it's not a grant, but loan will be given for a best performing municipal body. Municipal bonds, low credit worthiness, state guarantees needed if they need to float bonds. So solution, what is this? User charge revenues must be created. Escrow property tax. Escrow property tax means the property tax which is not being paid, or which the lands which are inherently, like there are lot of lands over a period of time, but no, the government also does not know whose lands are, they are empty lands. On that also try to increase the revenues. That is what it is. So these are some of the solutions. Elinor Ostrom common framework, yesterday we have discussed. It is like clearly defined boundaries for everyone. Who needs to do zoning, which authorities need to do, what people must do, how they need to use, if they are using metro, how they need to use buses, what rules they need to follow. If they don't follow, how much fines they need to pay. What it will increase? It will increase responsibility across different areas. So public properties need to have behavioral change. Public property usage need to make people to behave properly first of all. And it is applied to lot many things like parks, water, streets, etc. So there should be boundary. There should be separate zones called as vending zones, where people, small street vendors can be there. Penalties can be attached. Rules match to the local needs. There should be monitoring. There should be sanctions, spot fines, escalating penalties. If they don't follow rules, next day penalty will be more, like that. Conflict resolution, recognition of rights to organize. Even street vendor associations need to be there. So there should be proper mindset change will be happening, which will make people to follow the rules. That yesterday we have discussed in almost the same context. Behavioral insight. Rules are legible and few. Enforcement should be consistent and fair. Services should be reliable, and there should be costs or benefits which are visible for people. Then only people will follow. If you say that with the cost I have reduced this much of pollution, I have reduced this much of congestion, then people will think yes, it is justified. Simply levying the fees or taxes will increase the public frustration rather than creating the trust. And moreover, fines should not be exorbitant. Algorithmic economies, which is given by Edward Glacier. This is also one model. Dense. So there should be certain mechanisms, like there should be knowledge spillovers, infrastructure, services. There should be dense labor markets in every city. Every city should be focused on creating this. Okay. When this will happen, there will be evidence of growth. Agglomeration economies means the cities, because of lot many people coming together, increase in the GDP that happens is called as agglomeration economy. Okay, so invest in density, skills and connectivity. This is how purchasing power also will get increased as the growth is growing for every people. We have discussed this. So the best example is Meerut Ghaziabad RRTS metro, which is developed based on transit oriented development. So it will create new kind of growth, polycentric growth, not isolated growth. Focus on circular economy, that is one more thing. When we follow that Olistron model, it creates orderly behavior for people. There should be behavioral changes in everything. Cues, enforcement of fines, CCTV, regular scheduling of trains and buses, overall behavioral change in government as well as people. Metro should be seen as not just as model symbol, but it should be treated as asset. Okay, so civic order is institutional equilibrium, not a cultural trait. So streets should be available for 8 plus 80-year-olds. Wide pathways, shade, seating, protected crossroads. So nowadays cities are for only commuting and congestion or industries. It is not for the people. So cities should be, urbanization should be treated, or roads should be seen as not just for transport. It should be seen as they are for the people. So there is Barcelona super blocks where reclaim streets for walking and play, not just traffic. Melbourne lanes are also there. There are cafes and art spaces for people, not just for the traffic. Okay, so there should be vending zones and cultural spaces on every streets. These are very utilitarian, high thinking suggestions that the economic survey is giving. Recommendations: 1 to 2 years, what we need to do. Establish urban metropolitan authorities in 1 plus million cities. Mandate 20-year planning. Shift to rule-based planning approvals. Roll out property taxes in 10 largest cities. Link 20% of central transfers to performance. Enable bond issuance. And in mobility, launch bus fleets. Target 40 to 60 lakhs per 20 cities. Operationalize PM e-bus seva payment security mechanism. Then pilot congestion pricing in 3 dense business districts. Penalties for cars, okay, which create congestion. Legalize shared feeders. Legalize them. What is shared feeder? Autos, e-rickshaws. They are not legalized. In some cities they are very much available for people, especially in tier 2 and tier 3, but in tier 1 very less available. Notify TOD zones around all metros. Fast track Awas Yojana delivery in 10 lagging states. Provide houses for them. Deploy digital land records. Yesterday we have discussed this one. There is ULI PIN, Bhu Aadhaar PIN, where everyone need to geotag their assets on the map, and the credentials of a particular person who hold the land will be given, and there's a unique ID along with Aadhaar, and every person who own the land will have a unique PIN so that there will be less disputes. Expand Jal Hai Amrut to 1,000 sewerage treatment plants. Mandate grey water reuse in water stressed cities. Building code amendment. Scale garbage free city campaigns. These are some suggestions for 1 to 2 years. 3 to 5, put lot many corridors. Complete RRTS corridors across cities. Retrofit city streets. Build million liter wastewater reuse capacity. Finance UCF. These are urban funds. 1 lakh crore co-financing, providing loans to the authorities should be taken into consideration. Establish green mobility credit facility. So banks need to give the credit for the authorities for their green efforts they do in the cities. Scale municipal bonds to 50,000 crore issuance. Right now they are very less, like less than 10,000. Encourage them to give. Climate, 20 hottest cities need to have heat action plans. Integrate storm water drains with urban wetlands. Civic order, roll out digitalized challans and time-bound adjudication in 50 cities. Launch participatory budgeting pilots. Standardized street design codes. Simple, understandable, already we have discussed in multiple ways. Long-term vision should be 100% sewage treatment plus 50 reuse. Property tax should be increased. All million plus cities need to have 5-star in garbage free ratings. 50% model share for public transport in metros. Zero net land consumption, brownfield redeployment. It means already the cities, the areas which are developed with spaces, they need to be like used properly, not just through construct new corridors. Use the brown, like already used one, modernize it for multiple purpose and provide facilities there, not creating new facilities in new areas. Remodel the older areas so we can use them in a better way. Direct election of metro mayors. Mayor position is not elected one, so they are just only for the name's sake. Now have political amendments also, so they should be elected by the people so that they can work for the people. Replace scheme based transfers with formula based block grants. Instead of allocating schemes and giving money for everybody, give grants. Sunset fragmented urban authorities. The authorities which are not working properly, water authority or municipal sewage authority, mingle that into one single authority. Close it. There is sunset clause in other subjects also we study, right? Sunset clause means they will not be operational after a certain point of time. So do it. This is what success stories: Noida, Delhi, Meerut, waste, indoor, Surat, water treatment, Cochin Airport, Ahmedabad, IIM Kozhikode, Chennai parking policy. These are the best policies that we have right now. I think it's over. So there should be land title clarity, national generic document registration. Even every document properties need to have registration in the government. All land property registrations must be done by the people. State models: Telangana's Bhu Bharati, Karnataka's Bhu Suraksha, digital land records. Feed land records into the system, that is digital land records. No? Affordable housing need to be created. Shift from peripheral to corridor based development. Corridor means don't develop peripheral areas. Build corridors within the city, build infrastructure within the city, increase the building heights. So within the city development will happen. Priority sector lending. Consider the development as priority sector lending. Tax benefits, GST reliefs and infrastructure status. Give urban infrastructure or urban transport a infrastructure status. Yes, that's it regarding the urban development. These are some of the suggestions and problems. Okay. Afternoon we'll have another session where we will discuss agriculture, industry, services, and we will also discuss inflation, health and education. 6 topics we will discuss. We'll discuss mostly stats and programs and problems. Okay. So this is it for present session. Afternoon we'll meet again. Close. I've been now. 1 second. Adi kuda off.